So, you've got a WordPress website? Awesome! You're part of a massive global club. But as you know, with that kind of popularity comes a certain amount of risk. So today, we're going to build a digital fortress around your site, layer by layer. We'll turn those potential weak spots into solid walls of defense. Let's dive in.
And that's a totally fair question, right? I mean, the core WordPress software is actually incredibly secure. It's got a dedicated security team working on it around the clock, with constant updates patching any weaknesses they find. So if the castle itself is supposedly built like a rock, why are we even here talking about moats and drawbridges?
Well, the answer really boils down to one word: popularity. WordPress powers over 30% of the entire internet. Think about that. That massive footprint makes it the absolute #1 target for hackers and automated bots. The thing is, they're not really targeting you specifically. They're just scanning for any WordPress site with the door left unlocked. And this, right here, is what we call the WordPress security paradox. The platform itself, at its core, is super secure. But its greatest strength, the fact that it's open and you can customize it endlessly with themes and plugins, well, that's also where the biggest potential weakness comes from. Because you, the site owner, are the one in charge of all those customizations. And this is maybe the most important thing to get your head around. Security isn't some product you just buy and install. It's not a one-and-done deal. It's a continuous process. You're always building barriers, you're monitoring for changes, and you're actively preventing bad actors from getting in. It's a habit you practice, not just a feature you turn on.
All right, let's start building. Layer 1 is all about the foundation. We're talking about the core files and the database. Getting this right is the first and, honestly, the most critical step. Because if your foundation is shaky, everything you build on top of it is at risk.
Okay, first up. By default, every single WordPress database table starts with wp_. Leaving it like that is basically like putting up a giant neon sign that says treasure room this way for any automated attack. Just changing it to something unique and random is a simple but really powerful way to make your database practically invisible to those bots. Think of these secret keys and salts as these super complex, unique locks on all the inner doors of your castle. They keep your logged-in users safe by encrypting the information in their browser cookies. But here's the pro tip. You should actually change them every now and then. Doing that forces everyone to log back in, and it instantly makes any old, potentially stolen session data totally useless. Okay, file permissions. Think of these like a super specific keycard system for your entire server. They decide who gets to read, write, or just walk through your files. So 755 for folders means the owner can do whatever they want, but others can only look. But check out the most sensitive file, wp-config.php. That's where your database password lives. It gets a permission of 600. That means you and only you can read or change it. Everybody else, doors slam shut, period.
Now for the what-if scenario, the ultimate escape plan. If the absolute worst happens and your fortress gets breached, a good backup is your ticket to rebuilding in an instant. The gold standard here is the 3-2-1 rule. It's simple. Keep at least 3 copies of your site, store them on 2 different types of media, and make sure at least one of those copies is kept completely off-site. All right, foundation's solid. Now we move up to layer 2, securing the gates. This is all about guarding the most common entry points an attacker is going to try: your login page and the pathways that carry data to and from your website. This right here is the #1 threat to your front gate. These are automated bots that do nothing but try to guess your login details. They just sit there, trying billions of username and password combos, hoping one will stick. These bots never sleep, they never take a break. They're just knocking on every digital door they can find, 24/7. So how you stop them? This is your first line of defense. It's basically telling your digital guards, hey, see that IP address? It's tried the wrong password 5 times. Lock them out, don't even let them try again for a while. This simple step makes their whole automated guessing game completely useless. Here's another simple but brilliant trick. Every bot and every hacker knows that the default login page for WordPress is at /wp-admin. By changing that URL to something unique, you're essentially making your front gate invisible. The attackers can't break down a door they can't even find. Now, if limiting logins is a guard at the gate, a firewall, that's like having a whole team of elite guards patrolling the entire perimeter. It doesn't just wait for an attack. It's actively analyzing all the traffic coming to your site, blocking IPs that look suspicious, and stopping malicious requests before they even get close. And this one? Oh, this is absolutely non-negotiable today. Using HTTPS with an SSL certificate encrypts all the data traveling between your site and your visitors. It turns every message into a secret, unbreakable code. Without it, you're vulnerable to man-in-the-middle attacks. That's where a hacker can literally listen in on the conversation and just snatch passwords right out of the air.
So a fortress isn't something you build and just walk away from, right? You have to maintain it. And that brings us to layer 3, which is all about constant vigilance. This is where security stops being a one-time project and becomes a daily habit.
Now this is a really eye-opening chart. Take a look at where the biggest risks actually come from. Over half, 52% of all vulnerabilities are from plugins. This shows us something huge. It's not the castle itself that's the problem, it's the stuff we decide to bring inside its walls.
And that is exactly why you need to be the bouncer at your own club. Before you install any new theme or plugin, you have to be the chief inspector. You gotta ask, when was this thing last updated? How many people are actually using it? What are the recent reviews really saying? Answering these simple questions before you click install is an absolutely critical security step. And at the end of the day, none of this matters if the very land your fortress is built on is unstable. Your hosting provider is that land. A great host gives you a secure server, they proactively block threats for you, and they give you easy-to-use security tools. Seriously, going with a cheap, shoddy host is literally like building your beautiful castle on a sinkhole.
Okay, so we've covered the foundation, the gates, the day-to-day upkeep, but what's the single most important security tool you have? It's not code. It's not a plugin. It's actually something much more personal.
And that brings us right to the heart of it all. All the technology in the world can't save you from a weak password or from installing a shady, outdated plugin. At the end of the day, your judgment, your common sense, that is and always will be your #1 weapon. So I want to leave you with this final thought. After everything we've talked about today, it's pretty clear that real, lasting security doesn't come in a box. It's not something you can just set and forget. It's a mindset. So is security just a product you bought? Or is it a process you're going to practice day in and day out?